Alexander Palace. And so I was lucky as a small boy, 15. My dad used to take me to all kinds of, science fairs. So he took me to the C5 launch. I didn't know what a C5 was until I walked through the doors at Alexander Palace, and then I saw hundreds of these all whizzing about. And I'd seen the film Tron, and that's kind of what it reminded me of, the bikes in Tron. And on the drive home, I was just talking away to my dad, we've got to get one, we've got to get one. And then a couple of weeks later, I come home from school, and my dad was standing in the road with a C5 next to him, and I just couldn't believe it. And the thing I loved about it is that you could just jump in and start using it straight away. There's no kind of lessons or instructions really. It's very simple to ride. It is in essence a bicycle, but you also have the electrics to make it an electric car, and it was the first of its kind. Why it didn't catch on, I don't know, but 30 years later people are still talking about it, and so I think over time it has been more and more appreciated.
And how many are there still around in Britain?
Well, there was 17,000 made originally, and over the years they've dwindled away, but there are quite a lot of collectors around. The guy who runs the C5 Alive website, he owns a lot. I imagine he's got over 20, maybe more. Pictures I've seen are just wall-to-wall C5s, so he restores them, repairs them. And all over the country, in fact all over the world, people do own C5s and maintain them. Ayrton Senna even had one specially made for him in black, and the C5 Alive guy has actually bought that, and so he owns it.
Any idea how much they cost in '85, and in fact how much do they cost now as well?
Yes, the price back in 1985 was £400, like £399 to buy, and that was a lot of money back then. And to buy one now, they generally go for about sort of a working one between £750 and £1,000, and that's a basic C5 that generally is running. So they've increased in value, which you can't say that about a lot of things.
Do you still take it out and about the streets of Harlow?
I do. I'm lucky in Harlow in that they have a lot of cycle tracks, and so it's quite safe to use. The roads are quite smooth here, so every summer I do use it. My kids have got scooters, and so I need something to keep up with them, and so I ride along in the C5, and it's really lovely. Like, people out and about will see it and they remember it, or they've seen it for the first time, and so it's nice to chat to people about it.
And yesterday, a Saturday, you're out and about the streets of London. How was that?
Yeah, that was a bit crazy, a bit hairy, but it was a lot of fun. I just had an idea that I fancied taking the C5 to where my love for them all began, at Alexander Palace, and I thought, well, let's do a tour of all the famous London landmarks. And it sounded like an easy idea, but in reality it was quite a challenging day to get it around. But it was a lot of fun, and the pictures that were took were just stunning, of me going over sort of Tower Bridge, past Big Ben and the Houses of Parliament, London Eye, Buckingham Palace, Baker Street, Oxford Street. It was just brilliant, and I was overwhelmed by the British public that wanted to sort of cheer you on. It was like the end of a marathon and taxi drivers would wind down their window, and lorry drivers, and just give you a thumbs up, and that was good that they could see me on the road.
So in conclusion, the C5 is alive and well.
Yes, definitely is. In 2015 it is making a comeback for sure. So as well as having a C5 and wanting to do something slightly different for the 30th anniversary, my day job is a musician and a filmmaker myself, so I thought I'd write a little song for the C5, and I also build synthesizers, so rather than just sort of play a generic synthesizer, I like to create my own sound. So this is one I made, and this is what I wrote the song on. So I'll give you a little blast. Take my gloves off. So usually I do it at home in the studio, but this is going to be a first, doing it live at Harlow Bandstand. So let's see if we can get some sound out of this. So I wrote it to sound retro, as if it was wrote in 1985, and to reflect the music that was popular of that day, and one of my favourite bands is Kraftwerk, so they were still making music back then, so I hope it sounds a bit like them. That was my plan. And all the video that we shot of me going around London, I'm going to put it to this song, and it works better with visuals. I like manipulating sounds, as you can hear. Possibly. The sounds change, you go a bit wacky. And it's fun, and that's kind of the essence of the C5. It's fun for all ages.